Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. It seems Call of Duty is doing it again. They are taking a major risk this year as we've got some new upcoming leaks and rumors in regards to not only Call of Duty 2024, but also some Call of Duty 2025 in the gameplay design direction, which obviously is a very significant part based out of where the entire game is going to be, built upon. So we actually have this new exclusive from Insider Gaming. If you guys have been around the channel for some time, I'm sure you're familiar with them. This is run by Tom Henderson, who is one of the most credible insider sources that we have in the gaming scene, not just for COD, but for really all games in general. And he's posted this exclusive: Call of Duty to embrace open world campaigns in Black Ops Gulf War and beyond. So as we dive into this whole new exclusive piece from Tom, quick reminder, if you're new to the channel, every single day I got you covered with news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns, all things going on in COD is right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. But we start off with obviously the idea of open world campaigns. And here's the thing. Back obviously at the start of this year with Modern Warfare 3, that was the initial open world trial period, the trial and error, I would say, because I mean, when you look at it, Modern Warfare 3's campaign is up there as one of the worst rated and most disliked campaigns in COD history. It was short, the ending was it was a thing, it happened, and the gameplay missions felt very empty, especially the open combat, which are really hyped up to be do your own thing, but it wasn't really do your own thing. So it wasn't really a super well received idea, but them sort of doing this again, doubling down on this, it could be interesting. So this year, COD's set to embrace the open world campaign in Black Ops Gulf War, Insider Gaming has learned. It won't be the first time that the series has seen an open world-esque campaign though, as the first glimpse of what such a campaign could look like was first explored in Modern Warfare 3 and its open world missions, as I just said. However, sources explain that unlike, already good news if it's unlike Modern Warfare 3's campaign, Gulf War's campaign has been built from the ground up rather than using assets from previous entries. So another huge complaint with Modern Warfare 3 was like, yeah, we've got this open world, but it's also just Verdansk and we've already been here. Sure, it's a new Verdansk, it's been rebuilt for this sort of lore in the story now, but it's still Verdansk. It's not really feeling like a super unique campaign that it's its own thing, right? It just didn't have that sort of vibe to it. This would be entirely unique though, from the ground up, new areas to explore, new places to learn, all new things to navigate. And that in and of itself, I feel like would certainly spice up open combat, even if the open combat missions were still somewhat linear like they were obviously in MW3. At least it'd be a place that was entirely new. So that could be, I would say, taken away as like a positive if this obviously does all come to fruition. Keep in mind, it is just leaks as of right now, but it's pretty credible leaks if it's coming from Tom Henderson. So currently, the game's open world will see the player and their squad navigate. I wonder if that means maybe some co-op. I'd love to see that personally, but I imagine it's probably just AI squad. Would navigate the map more akin to that of Far Cry than anything we've seen in the Call of Duty universe. So we're talking a much larger open world, an open play space to navigate. Players will be able to utilize vehicles to get around, so that would also, sort of emphasize the significance of the vastness and the openness of the map, how large it actually could be in scale, rather than relatively, cut down apartment buildings, for instance, or, different plane crashes or whatever it is, like what we had in MW3, as well as using a fast travel system to get from one point to the next. Although the scope of how many linear missions there will be remains to be seen, sources confirm that some linear missions will be integrated into the game. So linear missions are those more standard, okay? It's basically a walkthrough. You're at the prison in Verdansk at the start of the MW3 campaign, and they sort of guide you down into the depths and you extract, right? That's a linear mission where the AI is sort of walking you through, or like the AC-130 mission in MW3, things like that, versus this open world, which really feels like it'd be more of like something Call of Duty has never seen before. Really reminds me of, like they say, Far Cry, or even almost like, probably not to the same extent, but like Spider-Man, how you can fast travel from point A to point B in the middle of the city. You gotta go way out there. All right, I'll just fast travel over there and get to my objective. That would be a significant change, a very drastic change to the core Call of Duty base campaign gameplay that we've seen before. And you gotta probably recognize that if they're building worlds that large and environments that large for the campaign where you can fast travel from one point to another, those assets are probably going to play big parts in some of those other large play space environments like ground war and multiplayer, and potentially even Warzone / zombies going forward. Obviously, if zombies is going to have this sort of Modern Warfare zombies outbreak style gameplay going forward alongside round based, these large open play spaces like Urzikstan, for instance, like imagine a map that size being playable in a campaign play space. Fast travels from, the top of Popov Power down to suburbs in the city. That would be pretty crazy to see. Or you could hop in a car and drive down and, explore things as you go, loot up, get good gear, find collectibles and stuff like that. Would definitely be a much more expansive and probably welcomed addition to open world missions rather than whatever Modern Warfare 3 was, right? They continue to say the campaign developed by Raven Software, I'll talk more on that in just a minute, multiplayer and zombies to be handled by Treyarch. Obviously, we'll see the return of some Black Ops characters, including Adler, who will be a part of your team. So this makes sense that it'd be sort of following up on Cold War, but also, if you didn't know, Raven, I believe, had a pretty big part in the Cold War campaign as well. So this wouldn't be their first time doing some narrative style stuff rather than just heading up Warzone, and that probably does help out with Warzone. They can do more Easter eggs and tie-ins if they're directly correlated with the campaign and the story there. So for those that care a bit more about that, that could be a positive takeaway as well. But obviously, following up on Cold War, Gulf War would obviously include some of those main characters that we've seen throughout the Black Ops franchise in the past and continuing on the story there. We then get into some interesting 2025 details as well. Outside of Black Ops Gulf War, sources also reveal that it's likely the series could lean more into open world campaigns over linear moving forward. So it's probably going to be based on some reception. They did have those stats for MW3 that's like, hey, even though this is a 3.5-4 hour campaign, it's the most played campaign, like retention wise, that we've seen in a long time. So they're probably going to use those stats and say, hey, players spent more time on our game because they were exploring the world and navigating the open combat missions. We should keep doing these and keep players on the game for way longer in those open combat missions. That's probably why they'd be leaning more towards that, regardless of public perception. Hey, this campaign was really short and not very good, but players spent a lot of time on it regardless, right? COD 2025, codenamed Saturn, which currently does not have an assigned leading developer, which I do think is a little concerning there, considering it's really not all that far out in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, right now it feels far out, but time flies. Is also pitched to have an open world campaign, just like COD 2024 and a little bit of MW3, with its map being separated into several different biomes and locations. While the pitch for the game is very much in flux due to its early development, 20 months until launch at the time of writing, it was said that the campaign's shift from linear to open world is primarily based on streamlining development over anything else. Interesting there, but whether this changes or not by release is unclear. So just something to sort of monitor as time goes on. Obviously, because we're so far out, we're going to see several new inside sources reveal stuff, and we'll have new leaks and rumors to discuss over the months coming in regards to 2025. So it's a very fluid sort of situation, I guess you could say, right? They also say Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War, currently forecasted to release in October 2024, will be the 6th entry into the Black Ops series. So like I said at the start, taking a risk, going all in on these open combat style missions is certainly something that's going to have a ripple effect, I would say. Some people enjoyed the sort of ability to explore in MW3, but obviously MW3 was so limited, so bare bones in a lot of ways, and felt very hollow, I guess. It could be a great decision in a game that has a 4-year development cycle like Black Ops Gulf War that's much more expansive and does this on a much larger scale. Or it could be a similar result of, hey, yeah, while it's open world, there's still really not all that much to do. This isn't a game to the extent of a Spider-Man or a Far Cry or, a God of War or whatever, where it takes place in this huge world, but there's really only a very few limited things you can do in these missions, right? Before you're back into the linear stuff, which is more based in the organic COD gameplay that we've always seen, that obviously has taken, the franchise from its starting point to where it's at now, one of the biggest franchises in gaming. So interesting details for sure. Very curious to see what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video though, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every single day you are always up to date with all things going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.